Polar Pop Cup for just 79 cents every day. That's right, a Polar Pop Cup for just 79 cents. Head to Circle K now and get a Polar Pop Cup and so much more. Only at Circle K. Take it easy.
What could be better than O'Reilly's and Checkers Big Buford with 2 juicy all-beef patties, melted cheese, and all the fixings? 2 of them for $5. Get 2 Big Bufords for just $5. O'Reilly's and Checkers. Fast foodies know the deal.
Donald Trump, who has a so far unexplained affinity for dictators, seems to crave 2 things more than anything else: power and acclaim. He wants to be able to do what he wants and have people cheer for him while he does it. Exhibit A, this latest report from Jonathan Swan in Axios, which says, quote, 4 sources close to Trump tell Axios that the revocation of former CIA Director John Brennan's clearance belongs in the same category as the president's love of the pardon power and the signing of executive orders. It's a power that is uniquely and solely his and matches his idea of how the presidency ought to be. Pure power and instant gratification. He should see Hamilton. And while stripping Brennan's security clearance may have scratched Trump's itch for power, it's a bad day for the president on the recognition front. That military parade he wanted, it's now canceled. Here's what he tweeted about that this morning. The local politicians who run Washington, D.C. poorly know a windfall when they see it. When asked to give us a price for holding a great celebratory military parade, they wanted a number so ridiculously high that I canceled it. Never let someone hold you up. I will instead attend the big parade already scheduled at Andrews Air Force Base on a different date, and I'll go to Paris to their parade celebrating the end of the war on November 11th. I'm sure you had to Google that. Maybe we will do something next year in D.C. when the cost comes down. I'm not reading anymore. Oh, wait, this is good. Now we can buy more jet fighters. Joining the table, I think for the 5th day this week, the Red Al Sharpton, host of Politics Nation. This would be loony if it wasn't so scary. I mean, seriously, the whole idea. I hate calling him un-American because I think that's usually beyond the line, but it is not an understanding of the American government to only the reason there are so few presidential powers that you can, levers that you can pull unilaterally is by design. And the fact that he likes them the most sort of betrays the point of what the presidency was supposed to be.
And what the military is for. I mean, he acts like we're playing with toy soldiers.
Right.
Or something to that regard. But when you're dealing with someone whose mentality is that all the parades in Manhattan up and down Fifth Avenue were really in honor of him because that's where the Trump Tower is.
Because that's where he rented or built?
he really, that's right. So he probably would think of anything because he's just thinking parade. We're talking about the military. We're talking about what we're showing the world. And he acts like this is some outing or something that we're doing that does not in any way take in the serious signal of what a parade ought to be. And the money. I mean, he's actually arguing with the mayor of Washington, D.C. about the money. I thought the Republicans were the people that didn't want to spend the money and increase the debt. So, I mean, the whole world is turned upside down with Donald Trump.
And he wants to go to Paris. He's going to own the libs by going to Paris. Anytime Donald Trump is cornered, he reveals himself as this sybaritic rich guy.
But he has all these imaginary friends that's been down in Paris. Now he's going to Paris. But he told us about a friend who we can't find the name of that has talked about Paris as in Paris.
We can never
I like when O'Brien's here. He brings the Bloomberg words like sybaritic.
Yeah,
you can use that. That's awesome. I like that. Great word. I just will say that again. To go back earlier, I messed up when I talked before about McRaven. I called him a general when in fact he's an admiral. There are no generals in the Navy. So everyone on Twitter, please calm down. I got that wrong. But again, here's the president who doesn't know one of the most decorated and successful military figures of our last 50 years wanting to throw a parade to honor our military. Now, what is that? Does that not make you think all along that what the parade was really about was about the greater glory of Donald Trump and not about
my theory?
He likes a bunch of big
saw the North Korean
guns.
Parades. And it's like, if he can have one, I can have one.
He wants a bunch of people strutting in front of him in front of the parade stand because it's a little Game of Thrones, like having a duel, a jousting match. Yes, it's classic authoritarian behavior, like Juan Perón and Evita up on the balcony of the Casa Rosada, looking down at the strutting military forces who are under my command. That's what this is all about. And more power to whatever the real story is for why this got canceled. Whoever pulled the strings, put the price tag, whatever they did to get this shut down. More power to them. You're the hero of the week.
Donna, I raise the more. I mean, it's silly, and we can laugh about it because he probably did like the pictures of a parade. He went to Bastille Day and liked what he saw. But there is a serious point here, I think, about the ability to act unilaterally, and it flows from the conversation we had in the last block about pardons. It flows from this idea that not only does he not want to work with Congress, forget about Congress. I mean, he doesn't coordinate with his own staff. He stripped Brennan's clearances without calling the director of the CIA or the DNI. There is this unilateralism in him that has nothing to do with not working with the other branch of government, and everything to do with simply sitting there with the clicker in his hand and his device in the other, and tweeting and pardoning and executive ordering his way through his presidency.
Well, it's true, and I mean, and he doesn't hide that. I mean, he has said on a number of occasions that he would like to have that kind of unilateral authority that he's witnessed in autocratic societies, that he wants that in the United States, and he's acting that way in the limited way that he can, whether it's through around dangling pardons or security clearances or trying to order the military to have a parade. I actually thought the best response to the president was from Mayor Muriel Bowser, who clapped right back and said, "Don't blame it on D.C. We've already spent $21.6 million on your parades because in Trump's America, we've had that. You're showing it on the screen." I think, we really do need to challenge this president over and over again, and I know it gets tedious because otherwise he will power grab. And we've seen that too many times.
And Joyce, let me ask you, taking this conversation from the glib to really the gravely serious for this president who's under investigation. Lawrence Tribe tweeted, "The classic way to commit a high crime or misdemeanor is to abuse, to use for an illegitimate purpose like obstructing justice or punishing critics, a unilateral presidential power like the power to deny access to information or to dangle a pardon." Again, just tying this into the last conversation. Does this affinity for, this appetite for, this ease and I worked for a president. Presidential pardons were done at the very end of the presidency, and they were so. It was really one of the most sober deliberations. He decided not to pardon one of his most senior aides, Scooter Libby, and there were people inside his White House very close to him who disagreed with him. But to see this president, so flip about pardoning people he's never met, never heard of, over cases and crimes he knows nothing about.
It's just a textbook case of abuse of power, and it seems to be what this president thrives on. You can imagine being president of the United States and all the capacity that you would have to act and to influence and better people's lives. And this is a president who enjoys pardoning, who enjoys stripping security clearances, who wants to have a parade to his glory, as opposed to doing the real work of government. There's a saying in the Justice Department, you can go fast alone or far together. And this is a president who likes to go fast, doesn't really want to think about the consequences, but the hard work of bringing in stakeholders, it seems to be beyond him.
All right, when we come back, new details on a payment to a porn star and why sudden silence from Michael Cohen should worry President Donald Trump.
Tonight, a big night of interviews. First, former director of the CIA, John Brennan, joins Rachel Maddow live for his first in-studio response after being stripped of his security clearance. Then, 1 year after leaving the White House, former chief strategist and controversial firebrand Steve Bannon is back fighting for the president. He sits down with Ari Melber for his first ever MSNBC interview. Two big guests, starting tonight at 9 on MSNBC.
Hell's Revenge. One of the most challenging trails ever.
Is that a tire on the ground?
We attempted it in a vehicle you would never expect.
We're supposed to be going up that?
The only modifications, all-terrain tires, skid plate, and disconnected sway bars. Whatever your mountain is, conquer it. With a new 2019 Sorrento.
At Priceline, we love finding ways to save you money, like mixing and matching airlines to get lower prices on flights.
Oh, that's what I saved on my trip.
Oh, for your wedding?
No, my ex-boyfriend's wedding. He's confused.
Jason! Mix and match airlines to save more.
Guys, I know it's so hard to trust, but you've got to be strong. Remember Janet? She got cash back shopping with Ebates and hasn't been skeptical since.
Where'd the money come from?
Stores pay Ebates. Then Ebates pays you. And they'll send you a check.
Oh.
Sign up for free, shop your favorite stores, get cash back. Ebates, something to believe in. Join today for a $10 bonus.
We do whatever it takes to fight cancer. These are the specialists we're proud to call our own. Experts from all over the world, working closely together to deliver truly personalized cancer care. Expert medicine works here. Learn more at cancercenter.com.
When we sold our home, we only wanted our real estate agent to do two things: sell our home fast and for the most money. Thankfully, we found HomeLight.
HomeLight rates all the agents in your neighborhood using actual performance data like transaction history and reviews. That's data on millions of agents you can't find anywhere else.
It took just a few minutes, and it didn't cost us anything. We sold in just 2 days, and for more than we ever thought we would.
Join the thousands of people who have found a great real estate agent by going to HomeLight.com.
I want to get a bar put in over there. Do you know any good contractors? Yeah, I might. Nice. Give me a bunch of quotes, check the reviews, and verify the credentials and qualifications.
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything HomeAdvisor can. So just ask HomeAdvisor.
Okay, we need to get all your school supplies today.
School, grade, done.
Done.
Hit the snooze button and get low prices on school supplies all summer long. Like these for only 25 cents at Office Depot Office Max.
It's all in the timing. A new report out from the Wall Street Journal suggests the infamous Access Hollywood tape may have been what spurred Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, to pay off Stormy Daniels. From that report, quote, Michael Cohen initially balked at the idea of buying the silence of a former adult film star who says she had sex with Donald Trump. But he did an about-face after a video of Mr. Trump talking about groping women became public in October. For investigators who are looking for evidence that the payment was intended to help the campaign, quote, Mr. Cohen's apparent change of heart on buying Ms. Clifford's silence after the Access Hollywood tape surfaced and nearly capsized Mr. Trump's campaign could help investigators make the link. The panel's still here. Joyce, let me play Chuck Rosenberg on this question of the mysterious silence of Michael Cohen. It makes me think of Michael Cohen. He's suddenly quiet. Is he acting this week right now like a potentially cooperating witness?
You bet he is. Now, he's situated differently, of course,
right,
because he might end up being a defendant rather than just a witness. But the silence that you hear from him is deafening. And the reason you're hearing silence, I think, is because he's cooperating. He was asked the same thing. Tell us the truth and don't talk to anyone else. And guess what? He's not talking to anyone else. I think it's a very good guess.
Joyce, you agree?
A good rule of thumb is to always agree with Chuck Rosenberg, former U.S. Attorney, former Chief of Staff at the FBI, former head of DEA. Chuck is dead on the money here. Cohen has gone from this volatile public presence to radio silence, and that is a sign loud and clear that he is cooperating or approaching cooperation with prosecutors in the Southern District of New York.
You're nodding.
Yeah, I think, of course, he's cooperating because he has no cards left to play. Sometimes people go down a path where they break the law and they don't even know they're doing it until it's too late.
Right, the witting and unwitting accomplices.
Right, and that speaks to Don Jr. Mm-hmm. And I think in the last month or so, you really see Trump starting to connect dots that he's been too dense to connect before, which is that his son's in trouble.
Let me ask you about Cohen, though, because we don't have to answer the question around this table about what Cohen knows, because Donald Trump answered it for us. On the day of the raid, when assembled with his national security team, he described the raid on Cohen's home and offices as an attack on the nation. Donald Trump tells us everything we need to know about how much damage Michael Cohen can do to the Trump family.
Yeah, everything about Donald Trump's reaction to we know that when Trump's kind of people will laugh when you say Trump really started to go off the rails on X Day because you could argue
it started off the rails
for a long time. But in the arc of this history when it's written, there was definitely a phase change of Trump's tone, temperament, his level of lunacy. And rage
and angst
right? All those things are all tied up together. the moment when the Cohen raid happened signaled that's going to be a new chapter, or probably in a book that has like 4 or 5 parts. That will be a new part of the book that will lead into the period when the walls started to close in on Trump. And I think everything about his behavior since then has signaled how concerned he is about Cohen. We've seen a million examples that illustrate his degree of anxiety about it. And again, I think it's